Hello, Jen here. I've been sick for a couple of weeks, so I haven't had the chance to do any voiceovers. I apologize. So this is actually the layout that I did back in September for SpiegelMom Scraps, and it was right when I was getting sick and had lost my voice, so I didn't get a chance to post it, and I thought I would do it now. Um, so as you can see, I am playing with a straw and going back to my elementary school roots. I basically just plopped down some spray mist and now I'm blowing it all over the place with the straw. I used these mermaid markers too. You have to be really quick with them because they're an ink and they're a little bit more concentrated, so they absorb more quickly into the paper. And that's just some plain white cardstock that I'm using. There's no gesso or anything like that on it. And now I'm just smudging a little bit of blue down at the bottom just because I know that I'm going to have that mostly covered up, but if there's any little open spaces, I sort of wanted some interest behind there. And so as you can see, I sort of have this idea that I'm trying to work with. I was inspired by my daughter who recently, well, I guess it's not so recently now, but as of this layout, had recently chosen to dye her hair. And she's done a few little, sort of, I guess they're streaks or whatever. I've never dyed my hair before, so this is totally new for me. So she's done a little bit, but for this particular look, she had to do her whole head, and so it was a little bit of a risk for her to try something new. And I thought that I would take a page out of her book and try something new as well. So I've had this idea kind of floating around in my head, and I thought I'm just going to do it. So you can see here I have taken some doilies, and what I was trying to do with these was sort of give the impression of waves. So I've sort of staggered them all over. I know in that center section where there's a bit of a gap, I know I'm putting something there, so I didn't spend too much time filling in that space. And then this piece of paper was actually the inspiration for my idea. It looks just like a mermaid's tail. And so that's what I did. I went ahead and made a mermaid's tail. And I think that paper is Cosmo Cricket, actually. Yeah, so there was a bit of a risk to me cutting it up like that because I have no idea if I would be able to find a second piece. I bought it at a scrapbook store in Ottawa, and it was in the clearance bin, and I have no idea if I'd ever be able to find it again. But it seems to work out, and I think it's kind of cute, and I kind of just wanted little bits of that mist poking out from behind to make it look like splashes of water, and I think it kind of has that impression to it. And now I've pulled out my SpiegelMom Scraps sequins, and I'm just going to play around a bit and pop some sequins into the tail to give it some detail and a little bit of fun and whimsy. I didn't really have a plan. At first I thought maybe I would do some sort of pattern on the tail, and I sort of stick with that for a while, but when I came back to this actual screenshot right here, where I was kind of looking at that clump of sequins on the left hand side versus the pattern on the right hand side, I will eventually come to the realization that I actually like that random mess of sequins a little bit better. But I do try and follow a pattern for a while. So I've cut it out because I don't think you need to watch me struggling with figuring out how I want these tails to look. There we go. And like magic, they are mostly done. So you can see that's the pattern I sort of came up with, but I will change that later. And here is my daughter with her hair. It's sort of a peachy pink ombre effect, and it meant that she had to lighten her hair. She has pretty blonde hair, so she's never had to do that before, but the highlights she's had have always been teal or purple or darker colors. But for this one, she needed to have her hair lightened, so it was a bit of a process that we haven't gone through before. But she was definitely in good hands. A really good friend did it for us, and it turned out awesome. She loved it so much and got so many compliments. So good for her. I'm really glad that she has the courage to express herself. I know a lot of people do, but she's generally a little bit more self-conscious. So I'm glad that she has found a way to express herself and be proud of herself. Anyways, proud mama moment. So I'm just going to put a few layers around this picture. I felt like it needed a little bit of weight to it. So I'm using the 6x6 paper pad from Pink Paisley, the Summer Lights collection. And then I have a bunch of the die cuts as well. And I don't really want too much extra stuff around the picture. I just want the picture to sort of stand out a little bit. So I need a few of those little details, and I'm going to take some of these die cuts and just sort of cut them up and add some color around the picture. This die cut is a perfect match for her hair. It's so cute. I'm sorry my table keeps jiggling. I think one of the legs is broken, and so every time I push too hard, it jiggles down. Jiggles down? Is that? I don't know. Anyways, so you can see I'm going to end up cutting up a lot of these die cuts and just sort of placing them around the picture. And when I do stuff like that, basically I'm just trying to spread the color out. That's sort of my formula for layering like this, is just making sure that the color is sort of evenly dispersed and that you don't have too much of one color overwhelming a specific area. And I even cut out that mermaid. It was a nice little tag, but I think she looks cuter fussy cut out and just sort of hanging out there. And she's going to get a little chipboard heart soon, so it's cute. And I wanted to bring some of this little iridescence into the color as well, because the sequins are so nice and pretty and shiny, and I thought that it needed a little bit of this iridescent silver color to sort of hold up to the sequins. So I've taken that film strip and cut it in half, and then one of the little pop-outs from the film strip I put down at the bottom. So I have that iridescent color in 3 different places, and the one down at the bottom is going to give me a chance to sort of fill in that trapped space that I had. So there you can see now I have 3 different spots of that color. And I'm going to put a little word down there that says mermaid, and that's from one of the pieces of paper in the 6x6 pad. It just has rows of the word mermaid, so I cut out the ones that matched the colors I wanted, and I'm going to put those in 3 different places. And again, it was mostly just because I liked that down at the bottom, it fills in that little bit of trapped space. So now when your eye is walking through the layout, what it sees is some interest down under her, under the picture, instead of just more green. It just balances everything, it fills it up properly. And that's the chipboard I was talking about. So one is a big chipboard heart in a light pink, and again some more of that silvery color, and then 2 little silvery stars. I like the way that the chipboard adds a little bit of weight and texture without being too distracting, because this really is a super busy layout. There's so many little bits and pieces and stuff, so I just wanted a little bit of a different texture, a different layer, but I didn't want it to totally overwhelm or distract from the picture. And now to put the title on, which is Mermaid Hair Don't Care. nice and simple, and I will finish off with some more sequins. So I'm going to pick out a bunch of the green sequins from some of the mixes that I have, and I'm just mixing up the different collections, sequin mixes, I guess that's what they're called, yeah. So I'm just mixing them all up. I just want the green ones, and I'm going to put them in a few different places on the tail. I don't want to cover the whole tail, but I just want to have a few little pieces so you have that sort of idea of shimmery scales. And then I added some silver and white and clear ones around the page too, again to sort of have that effect of water dripping. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. This was definitely a different kind of layout for me, but I had so much fun doing it. Check out SpiegelMomScraps.com for all the sequins that I've used and more. And until next time, happy scrapping. Bye!